The Beit of HaSatan, Chapter 4. My Father, my Father, my Father, know and see that there is neither evil nor rebellion in my hand, and I have not sinned against you. Yet you hunt my life to take it. 1 Samuel 24:11. In the last chapter, we saw how Joseph's brothers sought to destroy him. We saw the pain he experienced from this betrayal. Perhaps you're in a similar situation. You've been betrayed by those closest to you, people from whom you wanted love and encouragement. In this chapter, I want to deal with a situation more painful than a betrayal by a brother. It is one thing to experience rejection and malice from a brother, but it is entirely different to experience rejection and malice from a father. When I speak of fathers, I am not just referring to a biological father, but to any leader Elohim puts over us. These are the people we thought would love, train, nurture, and care for us. A love-hate relationship. To examine an example of a father who betrayed, let's look at the relationship between King Shaul and David. See 1 Samuel 16:31. 16 through 31. Their lives touched even before they met. As Samuel, the prophet of Elohim, anointed David to be the next king of Yasharal. David must have been overwhelmed with excitement, thinking, this is the same man who anointed Shaul. I am really going to be king. Back at the palace, Shaul was being tormented by an evil Ruach because he had disobeyed Elohim. His only relief came as someone played the harp. Shaul's servants began to look for a young man who could sit in his presence and minister to him. One of the king's servants suggested David, the son of Yesse. King Shaul sent for David and asked him to come to the palace and minister to him. David must have thought, Elohim is already bringing to pass his promise through the prophet. Surely I'll win the favor of the king. This must be my entry-level position. Time passed, and David's father asked him to bring refreshments to his older brothers who were at war with the Philistines. Upon arriving at the battle lines, David saw the Philistine champion Goliath mocking the army of Elohim, and learned that this had gone on for 40 days. He found out that the king had offered his daughter's hand in marriage to the man who defeated this giant. David went before the king and requested permission to fight. He killed Goliath and won Shaul's daughter. By then he won Shaul's favor and was brought into the palace to live with the king. Jonathan, Shaul's oldest son, made a covenant of everlasting friendship with David. In everything Shaul gave to David to do, the hand of Elohim was on him, and it prospered. The king requested that he eat at the table with his own sons. David was thrilled. He was living in the palace, eating at the king's table, married to the king's daughter, friends with Jonathan, and successful in all his campaigns. He was even winning the favor of the people. He could see the prophecy unfolding before his very eyes. Shaul favored David over all his other servants. He had become a father to him. David was sure Shaul would mentor and train him one day, with great honor, put him on the throne. Dawid was rejoicing in Elohim's faithfulness and goodness. But in one day, everything changed. As Shaul and Dawid returned from battle side by side, the women from all the cities of Yasharal came out dancing and singing. Shaul had slain his thousands, and Dawid his 10,000s. This infuriated Shaul, and from that day forward he despised Dawid. Twice as Dawid played his harp for him, Shaul tried to kill him. The Bible says that Shaul hated Dawid because he knew Elohim was with Dawid, but not with him. Dawid was forced to run for his life. With nowhere else to go, he ran to the wilderness. What is happening? Dawid wondered. The promise was unfolding, and now it is shattered. The man who is my mentor is trying to kill me. What can I do? Shaul is Elohim's anointed servant. With him against me, what chance do I have? He's the king, Elohim's man over Elohim's nation. Why is Elohim allowing this? Shaul chased Dawid from wilderness to wilderness and cave to cave, accompanied by 3,000 of Yasharal's finest warriors. They had one purpose: to destroy Dawid. At this point, the promise was just a shadow. Dawid no longer lived at the palace nor ate at the king's table. He inhabited damp caves and ate the scraps of wilderness beasts. He no longer rode at the king's side, but was hunted by the men who once fought by his side. There was no warm bed or servants to attend him. No compliments in the royal court. His bride was given to another. He knew the loneliness of a man without a country. Notice that Elohim, not the adversary, placed Dawid under the care of Shaul. Why would Elohim not only allow this, but also plan it? Why was the favor dangled before Dawid's eyes, only to have it abruptly taken away? This was a prime opportunity for Dawid to be offended, not only with Shaul, but also with Elohim. All the unanswered questions increased the temptation to question Elohim's wisdom and plan. Shaul was so determined to kill this young man at any cost that his madness increased. He became a desperate man. Priests in the city of Nob provided Dawid's shelter, food, and Goliath's sword. They knew nothing about Dawid's running from Shaul and thought he was on a mission for the king. They inquired of Yahudah on Dawid's behalf and sent him on his way. When Shaul found out, he was furious. He killed 85 innocent priests of Yahudah and put the entire city of Nob to the sword, every man, woman, child, nursing infant, cow, donkey, and sheep. He carried the judgment against them, the innocent, that he was supposed to carry against the Amalekites. He was a murderer. How could Elohim have ever put his ruach on such a man? At one point, Shaul learned Dawid was in the wilderness of En-Gadi and set out after him with 3,000 warriors. During their journey, they stopped to rest at the entrance of a cave, not knowing that Dawid was hiding in the back. Shaul removed his outer robe and laid it aside. Dawid quietly slipped out of his hiding place, cut off a piece of the discarded robe, and crept away without being noticed. After Shaul left the cave, David bowed down to the ground and cried out after him, "My father, see, yes, see the corner of your robe in my hand. Know and see that there is neither evil nor rebellion in my hand, and I have not sinned against you, yet you hunt my life to take it." 1 Samuel 24:11. Emphasis added. David's cry to Shaul was, my father." To put it plainly, he was crying, "See my heart. Be a father to me. I need a leader to train me, not to destroy me." Even while Shaul was trying to kill him, David's heart still burned with hope. Where are the fathers? I have seen this cry in countless men and women in the body of Mashiach. Most of them are young and with a strong call of Elohim on their lives. They cry out for a father, a man to disciple, love, support, and encourage them. This is why Elohim said he would turn the hearts of the fathers, leaders, to the children, people, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse. Malachi 4:6. Our nation lost its fathers, dads, leaders, or ministers in the 1940s and 1950s, and today our condition is getting worse. Not unlike Shaul, many leaders in our homes, corporations, and assemblies are more concerned with their goals than with their offspring. Because of this attitude, these leaders view Elohim's people as resources to serve their vision instead of seeing the vision as the vehicle to serve the people. The success of the vision justifies the cost of wounded lives and shattered people. Justice, mercy, integrity, and love are compromised for success. Decisions are based on money, numbers, and results. This opens the door to treatment such as David received. After all, Shaul had a kingdom to protect. This type of treatment is acceptable in the leaders' minds because they are pursuing the furtherance of the Besorah. How many leaders have cut off men under them because of suspicion? Why are those leaders suspicious? Because they are not serving Elohim. They are serving a vision. Like Shaul, they are insecure in their calling, and that breeds jealousy and pride. They recognize qualities in people that they know are Yahweh, and they are willing to use those people as long as it benefits them. Shaul enjoyed the success of David until he saw it as a threat to him. He then demoted David and watched for a reason to destroy him. I have talked with countless young men and women who cried out for accountability. They wanted to be submitted to a leader who would disciple them. They felt isolated and alone. They were seeking someone to father them. But Elohim allowed them to go through rejection because Elohim wanted to do in them what he had done in David. Listen carefully to what the Rawak is saying. David was concerned that Shaul believed he was rebellious and evil. David must have searched his heart, saying, "Where have I gone wrong? How was Shaul's heart turned against me so quickly?" That is why he cried out. "Someone urged me to kill you, but I said no. I only cut off the corner of your robe so that you could know and see that there is neither evil nor rebellion in my hand." See 1 Samuel 24:11. David thought if he could prove his love for Shaul, Shaul would restore him to favor and the prophecy would be fulfilled. People who have been rejected by a father or leader tend to take all the blame on themselves. They are imprisoned by tormenting thoughts of, what did I do? And was my heart impure? They sometimes wonder, who turned the heart of my leader against me? Then they constantly try to prove their innocence to their leaders. They think that if they can only show their loyalty and value, they will be accepted. Sadly, the more they try, the more rejected they feel. Who will avenge me? Shaul acknowledged David's goodness when he saw David could have killed him and did not. So he and his men left. David must have thought, now the king will restore me. Now the prophecy will come to pass. Surely he sees my heart and will treat me better now. Not so fast, David. Only a short time later, men reported to Shaul that David was in the hills of Hachilah. Shaul went after him again with the same 3,000 soldiers. I'm sure this devastated David. He realized it wasn't a misunderstanding, but that Shaul was intentionally, without provocation, seeking his life. How rejected he must have felt. Shaul knew his heart and still marched against him. David, along with Abishai, slipped into Shaul's camp. Not one guard saw them because Elohim had put them all in a deep sleep. These two men sneaked through the entire army to where Shaul was sleeping. Abishai pleaded with David, Elohim has delivered your enemy into your hand this day. Now therefore, please let me strike him at once with the spear right to the earth, and I will not have to strike him a second time. 1 Samuel 26:8. Abishai had very good reasons why he thought David should allow him to kill Shaul. First, Shaul had murdered 85 innocent priests and their families in cold blood. Second, he was out with an army of 3,000 to kill David and his followers. If you don't kill the enemy first, Abishai reasoned, he will surely kill you. It is self-defense. Every court of law allows for that. Third, Elohim, through Samuel, had anointed David as the next king of Yasharal. David should claim his inheritance if he didn't want to end up a dead man without the prophecy ever being fulfilled. Fourth, Elohim put this entire army into a deep sleep so that David and Abishai could walk right up to Shaul. Why else would Elohim do this? To Abishai, it seemed David would never get a chance like this again. All these reasons sounded good. They made sense, and David was receiving the encouragement from another brother. So if David was the least bit offended, he would have felt totally justified and would have allowed Abishai to put a spear through Shaul. Listen to David's response. Do not destroy him, for who can stretch out his hand against Yahweh's anointed and be guiltless? As Yahweh lives, Yahweh shall strike him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall go out to battle and perish. Yahweh forbid that I should stretch out my hand against Yahweh's anointed. 1 Samuel 26, 9 through 11. Emphasis added. David would not kill Shaul, even though Shaul had murdered innocent people and wanted to murder David as well. David would not avenge himself, but he left it in the hands of Elohim. Of course, it would have been easier to put an end to it right there. Easy for David and for the people of Yasharal. He knew the nation was like a flock of sheep without a shepherd. He knew a wolf was robbing them for his own selfish desires. It was hard for him not to defend himself, but it was possibly harder not to deliver the people he loved from a mad king. David made this decision even though he knew Shaul's only comfort was the thought of his destruction. David had proved his purity of heart when he spared Shaul the first time, yet even when David had a second chance to kill Shaul, he would not touch him. Shaul was the anointed of Yahudah, and David left him in Elohim's hand to judge. How many people today have a heart like David's? We no longer kill with the physical swords, but ravage each other with a sword of another kind, the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21a. Assemblies split, families divide, marriages shatter, and love dies, crushed by an onslaught of words launched in hurt and frustration. Offended by friends, family, and leaders, we take aim with words sharpened by bitterness and anger. Even though information may be factual and accurate, motives are impure. Proverbs 6:16-19 says that sowing discord or separation among brethren is an abomination to Yahudah. When we repeat something with the intention of separating or damaging relationships or reputations, even though it is true, it is still an affront to Elohim. Is Elohim using me to expose my leaders' sins? For 7 years, I served full-time in the ministry of helps and pastored youth before Elohim released my wife and me to our present ministry.